We give Balon Greyjoy a lot of crap on this channel for his brain-dead decisions. But believe it or not, there's a man out there that might be worse at starting rebellions than Balon the twice-clapped.
That is true. Balon got taken to Pound School 2 times, but in the legendary year 37 AC, after one of the most pathetic rebellions as well, at least in our opinion, Aegon the Conqueror conquering quote-unquote Westeros. In reality, it was his dragons that did all the work. In the year 37 after that event, we have actually a series of rebellions that break out under the reign of Aegon the Conqueror's son, Aenys Targaryen, a.k.a. Aenys Targaryen, and each one is kind of more pathetic than the last, to be honest with you, but it kind of comes to a head with a guy named Jonos Arryn, not Janos Arryn, but Jonos Arryn. He's basically rebelling against his brother. We'll get there in a little bit, but that's not the only rebellion going on at this time. There's actually several rebellions. We're going to go over all of them, and by the end of this video, we want you guys to let us know if you think any of these are the most pathetic rebellions in Westeros history, or if our boy Balon still holds that crown.
Yeah, he's holding on to it pretty tightly here. How can you not rebel if you are someone that isn't a fan of the Targaryen dynasty right now, and you're sitting there going, "Ooh, you know, all these dragons, Aegon with Balerion, I can't do anything."
Yeah.
All of a sudden, he dies. And then you just see Aenys, the little boy who loves ponies and dances and songs.
Soy.
He's now king. This is the best time to do it. It's still not a good time. One of the ones that starts it off is in the Riverlands. Harren the Red claims to be the descendant of Harren the Black. Basically just is a schizo and is like, listen, I know this guy, Gargon the Guest, the current Lord of Harrenhal, using his right of the first night pass a little too many times.
Very liberal.
And he eventually cuts off his genitals. And then he's like, I'm now the Lord of Harrenhal. And then they started marching towards Harrenhal. He then runs away. Now he's in the Riverlands, just, you know, up to no good. That one eventually becomes kind of a threat to Aenys, and the reason why he kind of is fumbling around with his decisions.
Yeah, Harren the Red becomes a red pain in Aenys' anus.
But this Lodos one, which speaking of, you know, it feels like if you're on the Sunset Sea, your IQ points are significantly lower than the people closer to the Narrow Sea. Because Lodos the Twice Drowned, a Greyjoy rebellion, or we want to say Iron Island rebellion.
Right, the rebellion of Lodos of the Iron Islands.
Dude, Gator, I think Lodos might be the original Lodos might be your favorite character of all time. This is Lodos the Twice Drowned, but Lodos, the OG Lodos, maybe we need to start a whole channel dedicated to this guy, because this guy is a legend in Westerosi history.
Yes, I mean, would you consider this the ultimate, like, left on a high note, or is it even really a high note? It's hard to say exactly what like note he left on. His people definitely were optimistic about the way he went out. If anybody that doesn't know, when Aegon was conquering Westeros, obviously the Iron Islands are not going to be able to do anything. They can't do shit, right? Aegon has 3 dragons. And so this guy, who is apparently very devout to the drowned god and really believes what this religion is pumping out, he goes up to the Sunset Sea and attempts to summon the great Krakens to, I guess, reach their tentacles thousands of feet into the air and take down these dragons. I'm not exactly sure what his plan is. I guess by Pokemon logic, right? Water beats fire, so maybe that's what it is. Needless to say, the Krakens don't show up, and so what does he do, man? He just fills his pockets with, like, salt stone and, I guess, iron, right? Whatever stone he can find on the Iron Islands. And he just walks into the water so he can go consult with the drowned god. Like, hey, guys, peace. I'll be back in, like, 5. I got to see what's up with the drowned god. I'm sure he has a plan for all of us, so just hold tight. And a ton of his followers did as well.
I love that. He just like, hold on real quick. There might just be a miscommunication here. Let me just go down there and make sure, you know, maybe we are double booking the Krakens, you know.
Right.
Yeah, I'll be right back, guys. 1 second. But also, what are you supposed to do? Would you rather just get drowned like that, or would you rather face the wrath of Aegon? And potentially, because you're not going to bend the knee. I guarantee you this guy's not bending the knee, so he probably would just be devoured by flames. Flames or water, Gator? Which one are you choosing?
I do choose water, honest. Maybe not salt water, though, man. That would burn going down. Hey, but listen, to be fair, just put a bow on this. It is worth noting that the body of Lodos was never found. So he may have ascended, or I guess descended, right, to divinity. It may have happened.
Well, right, but this guy that's now starting a rebellion in the Iron Islands, Lodos the Twice Drowned, is claiming to be that original Lodos. He's like, listen, I'm back. I'm better than ever. Took me close to 37 years. I was just sitting in the water. I looked probably great for that amount of time. But I'm back, and now we're going to take over the Iron Islands. We're going to make the Iron Islands great again. Look at me. I'm coming back. The midnight ballots of Aegon's conquest took me out, but I'm back now.
And how did that work out for you there, Tom Boy?
Yeah, he gets crushed. Lodos gets crushed. But, before we even get to the defeat of him, there's the third rebellion going on right now, which is the start of the Second Dornish War, the Vulture King, the very first Vulture King. And he's seeking revenge for what? Like, the Dornish people won that conflict. They withstood the conquest or the intruding Targaryen forces. I don't know why he even needs revenge. This is such a stupid rebellion, but what do you expect out of Dornish people?
Exactly. Trying to play God a little bit. They're kind of trying to flex when you don't need to or whatever. I do understand the idea that, like, okay, the entire rest of the continent is conquered, and it's not like we easily repelled them. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a Leonidas to Xerxes type thing. We made Aegon bleed, and so they kind of backed off, right? But if they wanted to, they probably could come take us to Pound School. If they really wanted to and they made it a top priority as opposed to, just kind of being a side thing like it ends up being until it ends up happening way, way later with Daeron the Daring, right? So I do understand having your enemy right on your border. It's a little bit disconcerting, right? But I don't know if the right method of action here is to like go charging head first. It doesn't really make sense considering the enemy you're dealing with. If I were in Dorne, dude, I'd just be pumping out these scorpions, right? Like make thousands, hundreds of thousands of them. Like have one behind every door, right? So that if those dragons come knocking, you can pump these things out and take them down. That would be what I would do. But of course they didn't do that because they're spicy little Dorns, brown of skin. Didn't work out so well.
And it's funny enough, this is an unsanctioned rebellion. Not that it's not really a rebellion. It feels like just like kind of an invading force, like a rogue force going after Westeros, because the Dornish people the current regime in Dorne is not claiming this as their official army by any means, but I'm sure they're just pumping and dumping forces.
I collectively judge
keep the Vulture King.
Dornish, and they deserve collective punishment. But
the dumbest of all these, think how dumb those first three are, but the fourth one here, I just believe wholeheartedly is the dumbest of them all, is Jonos Arryn up in the Vale. For whatever reason during this time period, he believes, hey, listen, even though my brother doesn't have like a son as an heir at this point, I feel like I should imprison him. I guess the relationship is such in tatters at this point that he decides he not only locks up his brother, but he gets enough forces around in the Vale to say like, hey, we got to overthrow Ronald. And after they imprison him, House Royce then lays siege on the Eyrie and basically surrounds Jonos and his supporters and saying like, hey, you're not getting out. And at this point, Aenys is just confused on all angles. He doesn't know where to go. He doesn't want to send people up to the Vale because he might be left exposed to Harren the Red. He just doesn't know what to do, and it's just pure chaos right now. But just looking at the Jonos rebellion, Gator, what the hell is going on here? Why is he turning on his brother? There's really no good explanation George R. R. Martin gives us here, and it just makes it so stupid.
So I'll tell you what I think. I think when Ronald bent the knee to House Targaryen, he lost his title of king of the Vale or whatever it was, right?
Right.
The king of that area, like there were so many kings. And he ended up becoming Warden of the East instead. And I guess his brother thought that was just so laughably pathetic, like spits on him and pisses on him and calls him names. Like that's the value of the Warden of the East to this guy. And he thought that it was so valuable to reclaim this name only of the King of Mountain and Vale, or I think that's what it's called.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That he decides to rebel. And this is his brother, by the way. Like it's just so pathetic. I don't understand this. It's just going to be a name. Again, this is another situation like we were talking about with all these other rebellions. Even if you do succeed, even if this guy did succeed, and Aenys entertained it, right? Let's pretend Aenys didn't even get involved. Maegor didn't get involved. They just let it play out, and you now have a guy who's like a little bit belligerent to the idea that Aenys rules. What's the aftermath there? Like when push comes to shove, if Aenys needed something from you, or if House Targaryen needed to collect taxes or whatever from the mountain, from the Vale, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
The dragons are going to come over there to collect, no matter what. It's a pointless war to wage. Why would you do it? That's what I don't understand. It's just, what do you see as the end game? Is it just pure pride of the name, and then after you have that name of king, you reclaim it? You're just going to end up bending over for the Targaryens again anyway, just to save your own men? Like that's the only way I can imagine it being.
It's not like Jonos had some organized or coordinated effort with Harren the Red or, Lodos the Twice Round. I don't know what the hell he's even thinking about. I don't think he even knows what he's doing. But it's not like a coordinated effort by him and other factions. He's not even married to anybody. So it's not like he's bringing in this high lord house or whatever into this conflict. Jonos is just kind of being a rogue here. And it has me thinking, later on, I have a theory of what's actually going on here. But just face value, what's going on, it just seems idiotic. Because like you said, the whole reason why the Arryns bent the knee was Visenya came up there, basically kidnapped Ronald when he was a little boy. And the mother was like, listen, we cannot fight against a dragon.
Yeah, you die otherwise.
First off, it's my son here. But the Vale can withstand a siege for way more than any other stronghold or fortress within Westeros. But with the dragon, it's the ultimate neutralizer. There's no way you can withstand it with a dragon. And there's dragons on the board, so it just makes no sense why Jonos at this point wants to do this. But luckily for him, Aenys is fumbling the bag and doesn't send people right away. Or
it's also one of these things where, like with Arryn the Red, for example, in his rebellion, at least you do have, Gorgon the guest, Gorgon the sloppy guest, who, legally mandates having a chair put in the corner of every bedroom because he's going to come in there and have his way with your brother, sister, mother, whatever, and you're going to watch and you're going to pretend to like it through your tears, right? Like in that situation where this guy is just defiling the culture, defiling the morality of all of the men and women in your surrounding kingdom, I understand, even if it's something that Targaryen family aren't going to like you doing, there's like an actual moral code, like a higher power that you're kind of trying to fight back against in that situation, right? Like it's demonic that somebody's doing that. But in this situation, this is pure pride. It's pathetic.
And right before Arryn the Red leaves Harrenhal, I think the Lord Tully, the current lord of that time, is with Aenys and is like, hey, listen, you should hop on your drake and just, do what your dad did all those years ago and just maybe take Harrenhal down another level with your dragon. And Aenys is not a dragon rider. Well, he has a dragon, but he's not considered like a dragon rider or like a...
No, he's too weak to ride. He couldn't hold on to the reins.
Right. He has his dragon Quicksilver, but the other dragon rider right around this time is Visenya with Maegor, who she is still she's in her prime right now, so it's not like a brand new dragon by any means.
Milfy, not Gilfy yet.
But there still is a threat out there, but it's funny that Aenys has the opportunity to potentially do what his father did all those years ago. And he just is like, I'm afraid I might have the same ending as my mother, so I don't want to go on a dragon. It's like, come on, dude. That's the best way to gain respect out of your kingdoms, to go out there and just start laying siege and do what you guys do best, which is just fire and blood, right?
Yeah.
That is what they do best at. And it's not really a great trade. It's just...
Yeah, lay siege, lay pipe. The other thing is, too, with all these rebellions... You notice he never sends a dragon? It's not even just that he won't ride a dragon into battle. He never sends the dragons. Well, there's one time, right? But he never sends the rebellions. He never sends the dragons. They ask him, hey, could you please send a dragon over here to help us deal with this? And he's like, no, I think as king, I'm going to command you to summon your banners instead and have thousands of your men. Well, maybe not thousands. Well, maybe, I don't know, hundreds or thousands of your innocent men die instead of me sending over a dragon. And there's a zero casualty, except for obviously the rebels who are going to die anyway. There's a zero casualty event.
Right. He's just like, yeah, all these guys can die as I sit here and wonder if I would have died if I went into the battle over there.
Yeah,
he reminds me of Tim Robinson in that one sketch we like so much where he's like, let me think for a minute. He's just sitting there as Tully's like, hey, you should get in there with your dragon. He's like, and it's actually not this conflict, but a later conflict which causes Aenys' death. He just can't deal with anxiety all that well. But funny enough, when there's a worse decision maker than Aenys in the situation, which is Jonos, who is getting sieged on by Allard Royce. And Allard Royce demands that Jonos releases his brother, the former Lord of the Eyrie, Ronald. And instead of letting Ronald go or even keeping that bargaining chip, Jonos says, hey, you can have him. You never said how.
Yeah.
And he kicks him through the moon door.
Yes.
What a dumb... That's your only bargaining chip, and you threw him through the moon door. Why? Because it was, funny. He's like, yeah, like the Joker, you never said. Poor choice of words.
Yeah, right.
Let's go through the moon door. What the hell?
Yes, it's like stealing some kind of priceless artifact from some religious group, and then you're sprinting away from this religious group, like an Indiana Jones style. Imagine this, right? And you're backed up to a ledge, and this group is going to kill you, and then you have this thing that's super breakable or whatever, and ancient, and then you put your hand over the ledge, to miming, I'm going to drop this thing if you guys don't back the fuck off, right?
Yeah.
And don't even try any funny business. Even if you have a gun or something like that, you think you can snipe me, don't do it, because then I might lose stability and drop this thing. And then what does he do? He just drops it because he thinks it's funny off the edge. Haha, now neither of us can have it. What are you going to do now? It's like, you're going to die.
It's after they have him surrounded, and they're like, don't you dare, or no, give it back to us now. He's like, you want it? Here. And
Go get it.
Down. Which
maybe, listen, to be fair, benefit of the doubt, maybe he thinks that all of these people are going to jump through the moon door as well to try to save him and form some kind of a big, what are those called, like monkeys in a barrel thing, and he'll be at the very bottom of it, and they can pull like a human rope.
Oh, like Bahubali, probably.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Underrated.
Yeah, I mean, that's Balon Greyjoy like thinking right there. Like, let me just throw him through the moon door. That will solve my issues. Which they give him the most original, awesome, badass nickname for doing so. He's now known as Jonos, the Kinslayer. No joke. Dude. That's one of his titles. Yeah. The Kinslayer. Yeah. Well, that's so cool.
So, yeah, real creative. Common in Westeros.
I'm just confused now too, as we finally move into the appearance of our boy Maegor here. How did Jonos get everybody on his side? How did he coerce these people to start this rebellion to begin with? If you can see his decision making to this point, of like, did you not think like 2 or 3 steps ahead here? Like, how did he convince these people into starting this rebellion?
I mean, the only solution is just that. Aenys is seen as so weak that without like really any trial runs beforehand or like examples to look to for confirmation that this guy is not going to respond if we do some shenanigans up here, they just assumed it would work and they did it anyway. That's it. That's the only possible solution, unless they all have a death wish, which they ended up having, by the way. But still, there's no way, because what happens when Maegor gets there? Or whatever, they act like they were totally taken off guard and they freak out and they kill their leader.
Yeah, they. I'm trying to think of a. What is the situation? I'm trying to think of a pop culture reference. I feel like there's one out there where as soon as like the big alpha dog shows up, they just swarm to the alpha no matter where, right? So maybe Ronald was just giving very beta energy, and then Jonos showed up. And they're like, dude, Jonos kind of rules. Ronald is kind of like a cuck, isn't he? Yeah, Jonos rules. Jonos rules. Let's go with Jonos. And then as soon as Maegor comes in, they're like, oh no, Maegor, we love Maegor.
Well, maybe Jonos has like a more impressive frame than average in the Veil or whatever. And so they're like, dude, this dude's pretty cool. And then they see Maegor and they're like, okay, now I know. Like, now I know what an actual Chad looks like. Maybe that's all it is, man. It could be superficial. It sounds stupid, but we're grasping at straws here, trying to figure this out.
But can you imagine sitting there though in the Veil and Maegor on Balerion, which shows up like an Avengers? There's your Funko Pop fan reference. It's like Avengers Endgame when Maegor shows up with Balerion. It's like, dude, you're wishing it was Visenya at this point. But it's funny enough, you know how he's taken out? The same way his brother and his then mother was taken out of their seat as king of the mountain and Vale is by a dragon just showing up. How stupid are these guys? They're idiots, dude. How did they not think this was going to happen eventually? Even if, like you said, even if they were able to hold off in the siege for 10 years, eventually whoever has whether it was Aenys on Quicksilver or maybe even Aegon the Uncrowned, eventually when he got on his dragon, he was going to come up there eventually and take care of business. How did you not see this as
that's right. Well, like maybe he did, and it was just like an in-name thing only. Maybe he never got the point across where it's like, hey, Maegor, I'm glad you're here because I've been trying to contact your people. My people contact your people, but the message never got across. I just want you guys to know that I'm only interested in the name here. That's the only reason why I'm doing this. It's not for any other reason. It's no authority. If you want whatever, I'll give it to you. I'm totally subservient, dude. I'm your bitch. But he never got the word out because as soon as Maegor showed up, everybody pissed their pants. Like, oh, shit, throw him through the moon door, So I don't know.
Which is funny. I don't know even if there was discussion with Jonos there with Maegor, or if they're like, oh, no, throw him through the moon door before he even comes up. And we just go, we killed him already. Don't you like us, Maegor? We killed him already. And or were they going to be like, oh, yeah, we'll... Because I'm wondering if Maegor played some sort of word game with them, and if they're like, you don't throw us through the moon door or burn us alive. He's like, I promise I won't do either of those. And then eventually he just hangs them with a rope.
Yeah, okay, I'll do another option. Yeah.
Yeah, he just does an option 3. Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be something stupid like that because, if I were in that position, and it's clearly coordinated, right? Like this little rebel faction that ends up turning on Jonos, they worked together to rebel against the rebellion of Jonos and kill Jonos, okay? If I were them, I would realize the writing on the wall as soon as I see the shadow of Balerion in the distance. I would kill him. And then when Maegor arrives, I would pretend like I was part of the
the
crown
Royce
loyalist. Yeah, like part of like the Royce loyalists. And it's like, yeah, we've been trying to get this guy the whole time. We finally took him out. And guess what? We took out all of his people too. We threw them all down the moon door. Trust us, they're dead. There's no reason to go down and look at the body pile. They're all down there.
Yeah.
Swear to God. Swear to God.
It looks like you're a little late there, Maegor. We took care of business. They're all dead. But thanks for the help, big guy.
We took care of what you couldn't take care of, Squirt.
What would you rather die? Moon door, rope, sword, or fire? Because he eventually kills them with rope. He like hangs them all naked outside the walls.
Hanged by rope or drowned in rope?
Oh, dude. Yeah, that's all he said. He traders get rope, so that's we have no idea. Maybe it was Balerion's rope, which you can only imagine.
Yeah, would drown in rope.
But which one would you rather take your execution, Gator? Flying through the moon door, being hung with rope, burned alive by fire, or get your head cut off by a sword?
Moon door. For sure, moon door.
Moon door?
Yeah, I've always kind of wanted to skydive, dude. I mean, it would suck, but why not? How about this? Put your head over the moon door, head gets cut off, and you get your last like 2 minutes of, head-only experience, and you're flying down the moon door. That's not bad.
Yeah, that wouldn't be too bad, actually. Because then it's like, I've kind of disconnected. Fire or rope is probably the worst ones here, by far.
Oh, the rope is the worst because it's so uneventful, too. I've never really thought about it before right this second, but can you imagine actually, like, being hung inside of a throne room or something like that in front of everybody? I bet everybody's being quiet. Like, imagine just only hearing, like, the faint echoes of your own body, like, kind of squirming. Like, there's no sound at all. And just, like, the pressure in your head. God, that would suck ass. That's the worst one. I'd rather die of fire than that. Also,
it's naked, too, so I'm sure I'm just sitting out there, and they're like, dude, Don's balls were way bigger than I thought, but his penis is tiny. They say micro. I thought it was, like, ironic. The thing is, I can't even see it. I'm just like, oh, please, you don't understand. It's a bad angle.
Why are you trying to explain it, man? Embrace the micro. Embrace the micro. Embrace it, boy.
I think there's actually a 4D chess player behind the scenes, which is causing all of this to occur because of how stupid this was. The only person that really benefits from this was the cousin of Ronald and Jonos, Hubert Arryn, who then eventually becomes Lord of the Eyrie and is the great-grandfather or just the grandfather of Emma Arryn, who then marries Viserys. So he's able to coerce his ascension into some political capital later. But I think Hubert might be behind all of this because how does he get these two guys off the board? So he just pumps up Jonos to go take out his brother. And Jonos being so stupid this whole time. I don't know how he convinced him, but I just feel like there has to be, some Hubert conniving behind the scenes.
Definitely. Let us know in the comments what you think this hidden Hubert lore is, because we don't get any of it. All this is a pretty blippy, in the actual Song of Ice and Fire lore. But yeah, dude, he has to be behind it somehow. I think his life is just too perfect. I think he's married too. I think he has a bunch of kids, like 6 or 7 kids, something like that. It's like, damn, man. And then he gets rewarded with all of this treasure and gold afterward, and he's the Warden of the East afterward. It's too perfect. He put it all on red, and it turns out there was no black even on the board. It was all red. It worked out for him. It was going to work out for him no matter what. I bet he was playing both sides too. It didn't matter which one of them won. I think he would have found a way to snag power either way. Because what would have happened? You think if Jonos led this rebellion and didn't kill Ronald, okay, Ronald survives. Now, with the knowledge that we have confirmed that Hubert was behind it, I bet he still would have taken out Ronald somehow, poisoned or something like that. There's no way.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm not saying Ronald was a great guy. For all we know, he was a beta, and Jonos would have been a better person on the that weirwood throne they have there in the Vale. But just the way he executed it was so poorly done. And it's funny because, Hubert? I think it's so Hubert. Bad at pronouncing some of these names because I just like Hubert. Hubert uses his political capital and actually is very successful doing so. He doesn't look like some person that was just mistaken. He's like, oh, how did this? He's actually married to a Royce. So
already.
Exactly. I'm sure he's just kind of pulling the strings behind the scenes, getting everything set up for himself. Because Ronald was married to one of Torrhen Stark's daughters. So maybe that was like a little bit of an outsider thing. He's like, well, we can't have these Stark influencing us here. Do we want some child that's furry adjacent or might be a furry outright sitting our throne? We can't do that. Gotta get that out of here. No, we everything stays in the Vale. I married a Royce. We keep it in the Vale. And as soon as he does that, he immediately marries his great granddaughter off to some Targaryen, or is his son off to a Targaryen? Because the direct line of Hubert to Emma is not 100% clear. Not a direct line. We don't know exactly how it connects, but they have to be connected.
have to be connected, and I don't blame him at all, man. You know, vice is nice, but incest is best, right? You got to keep those dirty Starks out of there. You just lower your IQ by, what, 50, 60%?
69%. Hey, thanks for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and smash that like button.
Or not. We don't care.